On today's episode, we're going to talk about stereotypes. More specifically, this is going to be a two-parter. Stereotypes that fit me and stereotypes that don't. I am an Peruvian American or American Peruvian chick. And yeah, we got a lot to talk about. Hello, Lieblings. I'm Madi, science fiction and fantasy author who's been living in southern Germany since 2014. So I was inspired to do this episode back when I think I was still pregnant, back when Hayley Alexis had also done a two-parter of stereotypes that fit her and stereotypes that don't. And yeah, I thought that was just, a good idea. This is an idea I've been stewing on for a long time, and I'm finally getting to it. And I also thought we could take a break from some of the baby stuff and get back to some good old-fashioned cultural differences. So since this is YouTube, we're gonna do the list thing. So let's jump into it. If you hear any background noises, it's because my husband is vacuuming upstairs. He knows I'm filming, but decided now was a good time to vacuum. Yay. You know what? It's actually hard for me to see with these glasses. I'm going to take them off. They're awesome though. They're a great prop, but yeah. Anyway. Number 1, Americans are loud. And sure, if you think so. Honestly, because when I was growing up, I always found my Latino side to be more like louder than my North American US side. If you're new here, I am American Peruvian, and I grew up with a foot in both cultures. So I was not only brought up with American views, but also Peruvian ones as well. And I've always found the whole idea of Americans being loud to be hilarious. Because it's brought up so much on social media, and all that goes through my head is like, you think Americans loud, you don't know loud. I mean, I am considered loud by American standards, FYI. But honestly, I've long made my peace with it. So, and I also take great joy in getting like weird looks from my fellow Americans. So, I will never conform. Number 2, workaholism. Yeah, the whole deal with hustle culture, that was a habit that took me a long time to break. It was a habit that I brought with me from the States when I moved to Germany. And yeah, fortunately, life in Germany has taught me to slow down. Been very good for my mental health. Though it wasn't a problem with like my normal jobs that I had here in Germany. And if you're wondering what kind of jobs I've done since moving to Germany, I have been a microbiologist, a translator, marketing associate. Those I've always been very quick and fast and good at my job. It was always like my writing or YouTube or social media, everything having to do with like my hobby, but my passion, that was always hard. Because in the States, we're raised to believe that every spare minute that we have, we should be using it to make money. Time is money. Like I said, I have learned to take steps back and to take a break. Like I said, I've learned to take steps back and to take a break, and it has helped my mental health tremendously. To the point that when I do get back into writing and YouTube and social media, I'm more productive and I produce better content. Because I end up using my time more efficiently. And I actually felt that tug a lot more during my pregnancy, because even more so before the baby came, because I was like, oh, I have time, I had to do this. And I learned at that point that I really had to slow down. And especially in that 3rd trimester, because I just didn't have the energy. At the end, I had all these projects I wanted to get done before the baby was born. And the only priority I had was finishing my novel. And so I just did that. And that's why, you didn't see me for a long time on YouTube. And then even after the baby was born, what used to take me maybe a day, because I would just like hunker down, just get it done. Now it takes me like maybe months, because I can only work in like few hour chunks. And that's also if little madam decides to take a nap. And we're in the 9th month sleep regression right now. So that's fun. And also, we as Americans were sold this idea of, pioneer ancestor woman who, they were pregnant, who was working the fields right up until they gave birth in that same field, and then picked up that newborn, strapped to their back, and then just got right back to work. And that's not true. Throughout all the human history, this is not true. I mean, no. But we are convinced as Americans that we have to do this, and we have to do this whole motherhood thing alone, and to work like we don't have children, and to parent like we don't have a job. Anyway, I've barely been back on YouTube for like 5 minutes, and I'm already rambling. Well, this is like, how many episodes have I been rambling already? So nothing new, right? All right, number 3 is small talk. And yes, I will admit I miss it. I really enjoy talking to random strangers. But it's what I grew up with, so of course it comes easy for me. I did a video a while back where I theorized that US is for extroverts and Germany is for introverts, and I will link that below. But if I am being honest, I am actually kind of glad that small talk is not so big here in Germany. And because there are days I'm not feeling chatty, and I'm sure a lot of Germans here watching this will also feel the same way. Like, sometimes you just want to go and get your errands done. You don't want to talk to a random person about whatever the hell they want to talk about at that moment. So, but because I don't get to experience it so often here in Germany, I enjoy it that much more when I go home to the States. But that's just me. Number 4 is obsession with junk food. So whenever I do go to the States, I have a list, and it's not what to visit or who to see, it's what to eat. And I wish I was kidding, but I'm not. Granted, within my lifetime, I think the junk food creation that Americans have come up with has gone a tad too far. Um, but I'm still usually willing to try it at least once. I have done deep fried Reese's. I have yet to do like deep fried butter. I have my limits. But and I do notice that like Germany is kind of starting to get a little more adventurous with their junk food. And some stuff I didn't like, some I did, and some I didn't even try. And yeah, I'm looking at you, asparagus burger. But I will say that what you see in an American supermarket is not necessarily what you will find in an American home. These companies will come up with all these really crazy ideas to get Americans to buy purely for the sake of novelty, because we do like novelty. And so an example of this would be Oreos. You can go to Walmart and find an entire aisle made of just different Oreo flavors, or different like Doritos flavors, or, Cheez-Its. Cheez-Its. And it is crazy what they come up with. But it doesn't mean we eat all of that, We're usually, into trying new things at least once. But I will admit, whenever I did see Oreos at someone's house, 99% of the time, it is just the original flavor. Number 5, ignorant of history. Yeah, I will admit that our education in history isn't the greatest, especially compared to Europe or South America. And I can tell you for a fact, because I still talk to a lot of my teachers, I'm still friends with them, it's getting worse. I could dedicate an entire episode to how the US tackles their history compared to Germany and even Peru. Well, I may do that in the future, but at least to keep it brief for this episode, we usually just go about surface level, and it's always worded in a way that makes us look good. We even have started polarizing historical figures. And like I said, it's too much for this episode. But if you are interested in my take, let me know in the comments below. But when I was in school, I remember taking courses in US history as well as American history, North and South America, because I always used to get very excited when we would have like the Inca topics or the Inca chapters, because I was like, oh, I know so much. Yay, Incas, That's because having a Peruvian mother who's like, you are going to know this stuff. And I was also a huge fan of the American Girl dolls, and they were dolls, and they're still around. I actually kind of hope my daughter gets into it, because I kind of want to get her own American Girl doll and like take her through the American Girl store and do all that. Though that store didn't exist when I was a kid, but my sister has done that with her niece. They can do like tea parties and stuff with their dolls, and I really want to do that with the kids. So here's hoping. Yay, consumerism. So anyway, I was a huge fan of these American Girl dolls, and they're actually dolls that are set in certain time periods of US history, and their books capture a screenshot of that time. and what it was like to be a young girl this time. And the girls were like 8 or 9 years old. And it was a really cool way to get interested in US history. I still have my Samantha doll. Like I said, a lot of our education in history is US centric. And the only reason why I knew so much about Peruvian's Incan history is because my mom wanted me to know more about history outside of the US, and specifically her country. And so my first real deep dive into anything European was in my semester abroad when I studied in Sevilla, Spain. Most of my classes were history based, mostly because I needed my history credits for university. And so I thought, what better place than to learn history than in the very place that I'm living, like history based on the place I'm living, and totally worth it. The classes I took, it was three cultures of Spain: Christian, Jewish, and Muslim, then Islamic architecture in Muslim Spain, as well as relations between Spain and America and the Americas post-independence. And they were so cool. They were such an amazing course. I still remember so much about it because it was just so cool. And after class, I'd walk through the streets of Sevilla and see firsthand bits of this history that I just learned in class. And I do need to be better about history because, I mean, in all honesty, it is really fascinating. I think sometimes just history gets presented to us so dry with just facts and dates, and you're just like, ugh. But history is really fascinating, really cool, and I think it helps get more insight into what shapes a culture today. Actually, do I even have it? I don't have it here, but one of my favorite books is the Shortest History of Germany. Really cool for those of you that are interested in kind of getting like a quick overview of German history. It is good. I highly recommend it. Yeah. No, I don't have it. I think I actually gave it to my mom and she took it back with her to the States. But what I do have is a short history of Europe. Yeah, I mean, that's really short. This is one of the books I do need to also read, on top of some other books, but I do want to be better about history. And that is pretty much my list. Those are the stereotypes that do fit me. I come back next week and we'll talk about the ones that don't. But what do you think? What are your thoughts on all of this? And what other American stereotypes come to mind? There are no wrong answers here, folks. So let me know in the comments below and let me know your thoughts. And that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. Give this video a thumbs up. It lets me and YouTube know you like this kind of content and you want to see more. Please leave me a comment if you have any questions or any topics you would like to see on this channel. If you want more info on my books and newsletter, they are in the description below. And don't forget to connect with me on social media, whether it is through Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, or Facebook. And that's it. Until next time, Ade!